My guests today know exactly what it means to go against the grain and love without any limitations. Please welcome to the show Adaeze Nwanonyiri and Lenny Rosenberg. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Portia.
Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Holding hands, that's always a good sign when we start out holding hands. I love
Starting
it.
positive.
I love your love story, and I want our viewers to hear more. Let's start from how you met.
Well, I like to say it was like a dark and stormy night.
That's her version.
That's her version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You believe me, but
She's always dark on the version.
Got it.
dark, stormy, rainy night in Malibu, California, and I did an interior decorating, but I noticed a shadowy figure at this establishment, this party that we went to, and I noticed that, there was a man there, cute, but very quiet and like stoic at the same time, and I was trying to like mingle and get to know people. So I did come up to him and I said, hi, how are you? My name is Adaeze. And then he's just like, Lenny. And I was like,
Lily, is that what you said?
yeah, just
That's
Lenny.
her
You just said,
version.
my name is Lenny. That's it.
That's
you
how-
need to
That's
sing
her
it.
version.
Your version is
My version is I was very polite and I introduced myself as Lenny Rosenberg.
No.
And I asked who you were because you struck me when you walked in the door. I noticed her from afar.
you saw her when she
I was
first
sitting all the
walked
way
in.
across the room and I literally fell in love when she walked through the door.
Oh.
Yeah.
But you didn't get that vibe.
No,
You
I
had
get
no
the vibe.
idea.
See the way he's explaining it?
I was playing hard to get.
Is that what that was? So tell me
Absolutely.
how things evolved. And you started dating. You working
Correct.
together, sort of, kind of, but you started dating.
Yes.
Absolutely. He, had different restaurants, and I did interior decorating, and I asked him, what was his thoughts on interior decorating and design, and he didn't really have any answers to that. After we were talking, and he told me that, he has a restaurant that he's working, he's like working the restaurant, and he basically invited me to come to the restaurant and
help
take
out.
a look. So I looked at it and I was like, oh, okay. The menu looks great. The exterior is a
The
no.
food was great.
And the food was great. Yeah, you can't leave that part out.
Yeah, but
you
you
saw
should-
where there were some
yeah.
things where you could help out. But it was
Absolutely.
in getting to work together. You guys
Absolutely.
started dating one another.
Yes.
And that's where there may have been some, shall we say, hiccups, not for you two, but for family, right? Your family is Nigerian.
Absolutely.
My family is Nigerian, and they're very, rigid and bold, and they have this vision of how things should be, right? Because things were tough for them. So I'm from Houston. It was very segregated back then. My mom worked very, very hard to get to where she was, and my dad too. So in their mind, they always want me or any of my family members to marry a doctor, engineer, or scientist. That's it. That's all.
From Nigeria.
From Nigeria.
Right,
Because
right.
they understand like the culture, they understand the clothing, like what I'm wearing now. This is an Ankara. There's subliminal messages. Lenny wouldn't understand that, but a Nigerian male would understand the message that I'm conveying based on what I'm wearing. They understand the
Understood.
food. I would understand them. So that was their
Unique
vision.
historical and cultural experiences.
Correct.
And Lenny Rosenberg, your Jewish faith and family tradition very rich and strong as well, right? There were some
Absolutely.
concerns from your family as well.
Portia, hiccups is an understatement.
I was just trying to make sure we put it in context. Tell me about your family's experience with having you date a truly African and American woman.
My family is a very traditional Jewish family. My father's from Hungary. My mother's family's from Poland. My father came here after the war. He was a Holocaust survivor. So needless to say, he wanted me to marry a Jewish girl. He wanted all his offspring to marry Jewish because it's according to Jewish religion, you don't want to break the tradition and marry a non-Jew because it's not a mitzvah to carry on an offspring who's Jewish.
Understood. So a lot of context here and a lot of history, but you guys said, you know what, essentially bump all that. I'm going to propose. You proposed, and your family said, wait a minute, you've missed a big step here.
Correct.
Explain.
The step is you have to present a kola nut. So before Lenny proposes to me, he has to call my father and say, you know, I want to marry your daughter. And then there's something called a knocking of the door ceremony. And in Igbo, that's the tribe that we're from. It's called Ikuaka Nuzo. So once you hear knocking of the door or Ikuaka Nuzo, you know it's about to go down.
And we should tell our viewers we're watching something from a part of the ceremony, right?
Correct.
But did you tell Lenny you had to do all this when he proposed, or did you not know he was proposing?
She didn't tell me half of it, and she's leaving out the best part,
Which is?
all the liquor that you got to present to the father.
Understood.
It's
This is more than a conversation.
it's about 10 conversations.
It's part of the tradition. It's who we are. You do present libations, a certain quantity and name brand, but most importantly, without the kola nut, you have to present the kola nut to be blessed. So once the chief does the prayer, then you can move forward in getting married.
And then you get married.
We got married.
So obviously folks started to come around.
Yes.
This is absolutely beautiful. You can tell it's truly a reflection of your heritage for both of you,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Absolutely.
How important was it to make sure that that was a part of the conversation in the wedding?
It was very important. You know, I wanted to keep up with her traditions. I knew how important it was to her and her family. And because I love her so much, I wanted to do that for her.
And both, we should point out, family members came. This was accepted, right?
Absolutely.
Everybody
Yes, it was.
just recognizes love is love, and that's just, it is what it is.
Correct.
Everybody was happy in the end.
That is good. That's the perfect way to end.
For the most part.
Right. You know, with always some complications. That's the perfect way to end this chapter. We're going to pick up the next chapter in just a moment. After the break, you are going to learn how Adaeze and Lenny's love story caught the eyes of major networks and streaming platforms. That's coming up when we return.